Welcome to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and today I've got Torgue shotguns. This should be an interesting one, because there's a decent amount, and some interesting things here. So, Torgue shotguns are very slow, but they pack the biggest punch, even a bigger punch than Jacob's guns. They shoot slow gyro jets that come with 85% splash damage, if I'm not mistaken on that number. It was 100 at some point, but now it's back to 85. They're slow. Slow fire rate, slow reload, average mag size for shotguns, and, slow bullet speed, but they pack a massive punch. Pretty much all the characters in the game are good with them on one way or another, and you can see that damage there. If you were watching all of them, you saw, Jacobs was putting up big damage. Mainly on crits. This is putting up big damage even on body shots. So, Jack's good with these guns because he can boost the splash damage, which gets grenade boosts. Athena can boost pretty much all the damage because Maelstrom boosts explosive damage. You can't build stacks with them, but they can be finishers for her. Claptrap does crazy things with explosive damage. Nisha, just making all these crit, does stupid, crazy things. And especially because she can make the splash damage crit. Wilhelm doesn't really have many outside of lasers, which he has a few skills for. He just kind of works with everything. And then Aurelia with her cryo tree, cryo makes explosive bonus. So, you get more damage out of explosive when you put cryo on an enemy, so she's obviously good with them. So, that is the rundown. I forget anybody? I think I talked about them all. Sorry if I missed your favorite character. I don't think I did. But yeah, moving on. So, Flacker. Now, for those of you that are new to this series, all these have blades because the blades don't affect the stats, and these guns have to spawn with a accessory, so that's why I have that. So the Flacker is one of those, like I covered in Borderlands 2, that because it has a lowered pellet count, you really want the vertical grip on it. But this is just about comparing the naked gun stats to the naked gun stats, and that would distort it. So the Flacker's got terrible accuracy, and we'll show you that in a second when I shoot it. Terrible fire rate, terrible reload speed, a bigger mag, which is cool. You still have 4 ammo per shot with only 3 pellets, but you have much more damage per pellet. You see 34,800 compared to 15,200. Now, right now, it's not enough to make up for the lack of pellets, but if you watch me shoot this, and I think this is a decent way to shoot it here, you see all these explosions. So right there, you see, and more as it follows back. Now, it's hard to see when you shoot it straight how many there really are. If I was in co-op here with someone else shooting it, you can kind of see it shoots in a cone. So it starts off biggest close to you, and then it gets smaller as it goes into the distance. So it's a cone going away from you. There's a few tricks to use it, like jumping and shooting down. And compared to the Borderlands 2 one, this hasn't been 100% confirmed. But it's pretty... Most people agree that the spread on the cone seems to be tighter. Because in Borderlands 2, it's hard to mob with the Flacker. You just wouldn't make many contacts with enemies, where in the pre-sequel it seems to. So you can see here, I didn't get that one big damage like I did with a Ravager. But you see a lot of small damages. And then here, you can see I'm hitting both of them as I reload. Right there, I hit all 3 enemies. So it's not a gun where it's necessarily going after that one guy. You kind of use it for multiple enemies. Now with this thing, when you go from the vertical grip on 3 to 5 pellets, that's when it really kicks in. On best guess, each pellet puts off 10 explosions. I know that didn't quite look like 30. It might be 8 explosions. It's really hard to tell, but some of them are kind of stacked, so you don't see them. So this thing puts out a ton of damage. And on bosses, there's very few guns that can compare with it. But in the pre-sequel, they tightened up, so it's even pretty good for mobbing. I mean, You saw the amount of pellets that hit this guy right in front of us. You know, that was 3 there. In Borderlands 2, a lot of times you'd only hit him with 1. That's what, 4 there? Oh, I didn't even get it through the wall there. Alright, I don't know where that shot. So we've got 4, 5, maybe 5 hits there. So you can see it starts to contact a lot, and especially if you can group up enemies. And a lot of people argue it's one of the strongest shotguns in the pre-sequel, where a lot of people hated it in Borderlands 2, and I think that's to tightening up the spread, or maybe the explosion radius is bigger. It's really hard to tell what they changed with it, but they did change something. I just can't guarantee what they changed. It's hard when it's not on the stat card. I don't know why I dropped those. I don't need to do that. I got plenty of backpack space. So, the next one I'm going to cover is the Torquemada. The Torquemada is kind of like a mini flacker. As you can see here, it's also down to 3 pellets. It's a bandit barrel now instead of a quad. So this one goes down to 13 to 3. And you also, on this one, have more damage per pellet. Kind of like the flacker has more damage per pellet than the Ravager. But on this one, you don't sacrifice the other stats. You don't sacrifice the accuracy. You actually increase fire rate. And it's 3 ammo instead of 5.
What do we got here?
So let me make sure I got the right one. So I'm going to go shoot this off in the distance here. So this one, you can see it actually shoots the pellets, and each of those pellets puts off flak. As you can see there. And they all put out multiple, so that's 3 explosions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like they each put off 2, and that's what I've heard and read. So that's 3 explosions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I saw there. 3. I think there was 4 there. 3. That's about 6. So it might be a little bit of RNG on the explosions, or maybe the textures are fucking with it. But the flacker pellets rarely hit an enemy. They just kind of go and put off the flaks. Where this one you can actually hit with the pellets. You can see there, and then put off extra explosions that hit. And this one, you can see there I actually hit a crit. So this one's a bit of a mini flacker. It's a little slower, but it's a lot less on ammo. It's a lot faster. And you can really put on some serious hurt on groups of enemies too if they're close enough. But it's just not quite as spread out. So this is kind of like the mobbing flacker, although it can still be really good on bosses. And that's that compared to the Hulk. So those guns are kind of similar, and that's why I covered them together. Now, I've got 2 more similar guns I'm going to cover.
Which one of you will cause the most
pain? And these ones are less cool. So, we have the Moonscape Er and the Wombat. Which one should I get first? I think the Wombat. So the Wombat here, you can see, has less pellets, but way more damage per pellet. So it actually has more damage here. More accuracy by a lot. Slower reload speed.
It's like choosing between the ladies.
So there you go.
I don't know. God,
so the Wombat here, 2 ammo per shot. It's the Landscaper. So it puts out 5 grenades that eventually blow up. Now, on contact, they should blow up immediately. Wait for it. So there's the problem with this gun. Because of the spread of it, which I'm going to shoot the wall here, you can see, it's hard to actually land them all on enemies because it's so wide. So So you kind of got to shoot the floor in front of the enemies and then let them walk into it. But it's so goddamn slow, the enemies are usually gone by the time it blows up. Or in this game, enemies also have low gravity and they jump away. Just like the Landscaper, it's kind of shit. Now this thing can actually put out a decent amount of damage if you can somehow get them all on an enemy, but that's pretty hard to do. And it also, wait for it, can hurt you, which is extra lame, because it actually shoots out 5 grenades. The Landscaper was known as the worst Torgue shotgun in Borderlands 2, and one of the worst guns in Borderlands 2. And they brought it back, and I'm not happy about it. It's kind of lame that they did that. I don't know what they were thinking with it, because it's a terrible gun. And it should have just been left alone. Now, interestingly enough, in the Claptrap DLC, we got the Moonscape Er. Another similar sounding gun, also with 5 pellets. Now this one shoots them in a square, kind of, and they slowly raise up and explode. So it's got a better spread on it, at least. But the rest of it suffers the same way. So, you know, here to kind of compare that. But they're still pretty wide out there. Wait for it. Why the fuck did we get 2 of these guns? Like, the Landscaper was terrible, and then you gave us 2 Landscapers. It makes no sense. I mean, look how wide those pellets shot. You're just not going to hit enemies with it. Even with its higher accuracy, that's a massive spread. So you've got to shoot it in front of enemies and hope they walk into it to blow them up. But enemies don't always just walk straight into it. I guess if you can combine it with singularity grenades, you can kind of mess with enemies, but there's... I don't know. I get angry at these guns. They probably have some fans out there somewhere for some reason. I don't know why, because it's a terrible gun. And once again, as you saw there, it can damage you. These guns kind of piss me off. The Torquemada was a brilliant idea because the Flak was actually a good gun. I don't know anyone that really liked the Landscaper in Borderlands 2. Well, I know one person liked the Landscaper in Borderlands 2. One. It's just... ugh, grr. I don't know what else to say with these except just why. You know, one of the issues with the pre-sequel, in many people's mind, was there was not enough original new red text guns. And then you reskin the Landscaper not once but twice. And that's kind of mind-blowing. I don't know what they were thinking, but it's a failure. Now we have the Jacko Cannon, which was a shift code gun. And for some reason, we do this all the time with Jacob's guns. It's 1 pellet instead of 16, and the damage of that doesn't nearly make up for 13,000 times 16. It's 60,000. That's nowhere near that. It's not even half. It's so far below the damage. Now the accuracy is higher, but yeah, it's got 1 big pellet. The mag's bigger. It only takes 2 ammo instead of 4. That's cool. But it's also pure splash damage. So you can't crit with it, which, you know, limits it with certain characters. And the damage just isn't nearly high enough with this thing. You lose so much damage. It's just not a good gun. And it's cool. I mean, it shoots a fucking pumpkin. That's so awesome. Like, why can't they just make it good and not nerf the damage? And not nerf. Nerf's a bad word there. Sorry. But not reduce the damage so much. I mean, it looks awesome too. Let's look at this thing. come on. You got this awesome face on it. Such a good looking gun. It's holiday themed. So cool until you shoot it, and then it just doesn't really do shit. I mean, even with like cryo builds, it barely scratches people. It's just kind of sad, to be honest. So Torgue shotguns are kind of a failure. The Flacker and the Torquemada, though, kind of make up for it because they're both so damn good. And whatever they did to the Flacker, I'm not 100% what they did to it, but they did something, because it went from a gun that people hated to a gun that's known as kind of one of the best weapons in this game. So they did something awesome with that. Like I said, I don't know what that awesome thing is. I just know it's awesome whatever they did with it. This gun, not so much. Oh, the big splat is cool. So, yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think of these. With this pumpkin, can this even get a vertical prefix? I don't think you can even make this ×3, which is even sadder, but I'll see in the next video and see if I can make good use of it. So for this gun, I think they just needed to crank up the damage, and that's it. Just crank up the damage and I'm happy. I'm fine with it being pure splash. You can make it kind of like a cool, almost like a slow handish, but just explosive gun, like a Torgue slow hand. You don't even need the Moxie healing. They could have made that sweet because the slow hand was awesome. The Moonscape Er and God, I can't even remember the name of it. Wombat. They just shouldn't have done these. I mean, this was a failure of a concept in Borderlands 2. Why do we bring it back? And why do we do it twice with a slight alteration? The way to fix these guns is to get rid of them and replace them with something cool. Increased bullet speed on just a double-barrel Jacob's shotgun Torgue gun could be cool. Get rid of that slow gyro jet. Just speed up the bullet speed. There you go. There's something interesting. But almost every gun. So these two, you go from 16 to 5. This one, you go from... Sorry, those weren't 16. So 16 to 1. 9 to 5. And then the Flacker, you go from 16 to 3. And then you go down to 13 to 3 with a Torquemada. And that's kind of the pattern here. Why are we always dropping pellet counts with Torgue shotguns so badly? It's kind of infuriating, to be honest. They should just give us pellets. Make a Torgue shotgun with a regular pellet count. That would be cool. We've yet to ever see that in Borderlands. Maybe Borderlands 1. But in Borderlands 2 in the pre-sequel, there's not a single red text Torgue shotgun, I don't think, with a regular pellet count. And that's weird, and it really limits them to vertical prefixes. Because that's too bad. It'd be nice to be able to spread out our prefixes and, help make farming easier. But both the Flacker, pretty much all of them. Same thing with the Moonscape and the Wombat. With only those 5, if you're going to get anything out of it, you want to be able to shoot the 7. The Torquemada and Flacker going from 3 to 5 is a major increase. And then the pumpkin gun, I don't even think it can shoot 3 pumpkins, sadly enough. So, yeah, that's Torgue shotguns. Once again, the massive pellet reduction. And I think they did them a lot better in Borderlands 2 once again. Because we had the sword explosion, you had the carnage, which, sucked on some characters like Maya, but was awesome on, like, Krieg and Axton. It was once again a vertical prefix gun, but whatever. But in this game, they fixed the Flacker, and they gave us Mini Flacker, which is awesome, but we just don't have as many other cool ones, and that's kind of sad. Especially because the Carnage was kind of a staple, the Carnage is from Borderlands 1. It would have been cool to get another Carnage back in this game. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later. Bye.